Questum sanctam uncionem indulgiat tibi Dominus, quid delaquisti. Amen.
Father Paul Evans never gets used to sick calls. Every time they drive home to him more deeply how big his job is, how important. And then he thinks how close he came to missing it. Things came to a head during his senior year in high school. Most of the time, he just rocked along with the gang from St. Pete's or the girls from St. Mary's. Oh, they had a ball. But often, in the midst of the fun, an old craving for something better would come back to haunt him. He'd tried to put it out of his mind because it was going to cost him. He had to get this thing settled, yes or no. A no from somebody would get him off the hook.
Now, perhaps the invasion of England would never have succeeded if Harold hadn't decided to fight it out at Hastings. But he did, and so...
Lefty Cordano in real trouble now.
And so the year 1066 becomes one of the most critical periods in English history.
Jimmy Temple's Wild Rope was Schooner Noonan on third, with big Russ Cronin at bat. Jimmy Mitchell on deck. Cordano looks in to get his side, now goes to a stretch. Here's the pitch, and Cronin swings and misses.
Mr. Evans, I'll take the radio. Since you were such a sports fan, perhaps you won't mind coming back after class and cleaning up the locker room. Almost finished, eh?
Oh, I hope so.
Here.
Oh, thanks, Father.
But any more fooling around, and I'm going to be using that radio until graduation.
Okay, Father.
Well, looks like you make a pretty fine janitor.
Who wants to be a janitor?
What do you want to do?
I don't know. Anything, long as I'm boss.
Well, you better make up your mind pretty soon. Your senior year is rolling right along.
I've been thinking about it, but the older you get, the harder it is to make up your mind. A lot of things I could do, but sometimes I get crazy ideas, for me anyhow. Like, I thought I'd like to be a priest.
Oh?
Yeah, me and the way I horse around.
How long have you been thinking about it?
Oh, a couple of years, but only every now and then. I guess everybody thinks about it every now and then. I wouldn't last in the seminary, though. I'd pull something and that'd be it.
Well, I don't think you have to count yourself out, Jim. Going to the seminary is a big step. It's a real challenge. The only thing you have to worry about is whether you have the courage to make that step. Once you did that, I think you'd bear down and go all the way.
You do?
Well, it won't be easy. I think you have it in you.
Well, it's like I say, Father. Everybody thinks about it every now and then.
Well, I better run along. I don't want to keep you from your work.
Father Stephen hadn't been any help at all. He'd left Jim still on the hook. So Jim worked harder than ever at having a good time. And he really felt that he had the idea of going to the seminary buried, once and for all. Then came that time on the school grounds. It started like any other afternoon when class was out.
Steve. Boy, it's good to see you. Well, General, where did you drop in from? How'd you know I was in the paratroopers? I was supposed to be a military secret. Come and meet the gang. This is Father Gregory Miller of the United States Army. We studied philosophy together. I studied. And I ended up teaching. Well, this is my punishment. Jim?
How you
Jim,
doing,
how are
Father?
you? Bob?
Hello.
Kathy? Kathy. Patty? Patty. Mike? Hi, Mike. May? May. And Lou. Lou? The girls are from St. Mary's, of course. Oh, more of the bells of St. Mary's. Do you girls still lob tennis balls on the roof of the shed as the boys are getting out of class?
Father, how did you know about that?
Oh, that's a military secret. Well, I'll tell you something military about the captain that he can't keep a secret. He won't wear it, but he was awarded the Bronze Star, I saw more combat in the 1 year I taught high school. I know what you mean. I'm going to take the father up to the house and find him a room. So long, kids.
Bye.
Ah, you carried that long enough.
That's what Jim admired about the Padres. Their good spirit. After that, no matter how much fun he was having or how busy he kept, the question bothered him for an answer. He never expected that answer to start in a malt shop by people who had no idea what was in his mind.
Poor Mike. Jim, you shouldn't tease him like that.
Oh, Kathy, Mike can take care of himself. Yeah, he can really get around, and he's got plenty up here. You can say that again, Bob.
Oh, I still feel so bad every time I see him. You know, he wanted to be a priest.
He did?
Yes, I know his sister real well, and she said that all he ever talked about was being a priest. Then this polio hit him, and he could never walk again.
Yeah, that was rough.
The thing that hurt him most, though, was knowing he'd never be a priest.
Well, that's kind of funny.
What is?
Mike getting bothered because he can't shut himself up in a monastery. I don't get that. You don't? Who would? What a life. No family, no fun. Maybe he wanted something better. Maybe he thought being a priest was worth giving up a lot for. Okay. If you think it's so great, why don't you try it? What's the joke?
You in a seminary, I can just see you.
That laugh of Kathy's did something. He had to prove to himself that she was wrong. He could bear down on his studies. He could even get up in time for Mass before school started. So why couldn't it be possible that someday he would be standing at this altar?
Oh, that was fun.
There was still something he had to find out, and he knew whom to ask.
You like being a priest, don't you? I mean, if you had it to do over again, you'd do the same thing?
Yes, Jim, I would. The priesthood's the most wonderful thing in the world. I've never regretted it.
Father, I think I'm going to go to the seminary.
Good. I was hoping you'd give it a try. I think it's for you, Jim. I think it's big enough. You need something to throw yourself into to feel that every moment of it counts. Your friend Bob is pretty much the same way, except the big thing with him is medicine.
Yes, he's always wanted to be a doctor.
He's always seen himself in the role of saving human lives. Well, that's a great dream. But yours is much greater. Bob will help bring new lives into the world. At the baptismal font, you'll give those babies the right to eternal life. He repairs broken bodies. In the confessional, you'll bring back to life souls dead with sin. Time and time again, Bob will have to step back from a sick bed and say, there's nothing more I can do. And then you'll take over and help a man toward heaven. And every morning, you'll do something even more tremendous.
Yes, the Mass.
You'll bring the living God back and give him to his people. The priesthood's a big responsibility. But it's an even greater privilege.
It's a lot to live up to.
More than any of us deserve. We can never be good enough for it. But we can try and do our best and trust God to see us through. And he does. It's the biggest job in the world, Jim. Bringing God to men and men to God. That's why everybody looks up to a priest.
Hey, Father!
Well, almost everybody.
He broke the news to his mother first. When she recovered from her surprise, she was all for it. He got a slightly different reaction from his dad, and an entirely different one from his kid sister.
Jim is fine by me, but haven't we been through these things before?
Can I have your room when you go?
No, I'll be coming home on vacations for the first couple of years anyway.
Oh, do they let you out?
It's a seminary, not a jail.
Let's see, Jim. First it was a fireman, then it was an airline pilot, and then it was,
Dad, that was ages ago when I was just a kid.
Well, listen to Grandpa. Just a year ago, you drove everybody crazy trying to be a skin diver.
Oh, button your lip. I'm trying to talk to Dad.
Well, maybe in the seminary they'll at least teach you some manners.
Jeanette, didn't you hear your mother calling you?
No, I didn't.
Well, then go tell her she should.
You don't have to push me. I know when I'm not wanted.
Dad, it might sound funny, but I've made up my mind. I'm going to the seminary.
Don't get me wrong, Jim. I'm all for it, but I'll believe it when I see it.
There were other people he had to tell. They stood for a lot of things he would have to give up.
Hi, Kathy.
Where have you been keeping yourself? I haven't seen you in ages.
Well, I've been pretty busy. I've been working, you know, getting money for college.
Oh, what college you going to? St. Edward's, Washington, Southwestern?
No, I'm going to the seminary college.
Seminary?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a long time, and I finally made up my mind.
I can't believe it.
Remember that time in the malt shop? The first time anybody said anything about it, and you laughed.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, no, I'm glad you laughed. It started me thinking. Well, we had some good times together.
Yes, we did.
I better run along.
Oh, well, do you have to go so soon?
Well, I've got a lot of things to do before I take off. I can hardly believe I'm going. Well, it's been swell, Kathy.
Yes, it was.
Be seeing you.
Bye, Jim.
So when September rolled around, there was Jim Evans at the seminary. Studies weren't all Latin and Greek. And the seminary wasn't all study. They had locker rooms there, too. This was always a good time of the day for Jim. He could see clearly that this was the right thing to do with his life, the best possible thing. And when things got rough, he found here the courage to keep going. All through the 2 years of college, he'd looked forward to the novitiate. That's where the big difference began. Here he started learning how to be a Franciscan. He began his new life by giving up the things he wouldn't need anymore. At least part of his dream came true. Now he looked like a Franciscan. The habit was old, it was shabby, but it felt good. They even gave him a new name, Paul. There were 19 in his class, so he had plenty of brothers. Brothers in St. Francis to work with, study with, to have fun with, and to pray with as they faced and met the challenges that stood between them and their goal. Somehow it was his last year, and his thoughts kept jumping ahead. He could see himself at work, God's work. He would be offering the sacrifice of a Mass for the people. He would help them on their way to heaven. He could see himself as a Padre Professor. Or a chaplain in the jails. He might be working in the missions of the Philippines or South America. Yes, he could see himself. In just 1 year. Even at the altar, it didn't seem real. It was too tremendous. All through the ceremony, he had to keep telling himself, this is real. This is me, Jim Evans, lying here, offering to God my body, my heart, my soul, for his service. These are the bishop's hands resting on my head, filling me with Christ's own power. These are my hands being made sacred for the work of bringing Christ's grace into the world. This is my chalice and paten, symbol of my power to offer the sacrifice of the Mass. This is the heart of my priesthood. And so Jim Evans and all the others began their life's work by calling down God's blessing upon the world. On the bishop who had just given them this power and had made them priests forever. With a very special blessing for his own family. And one for Bob and Kathy, married and very happy. This was his dream come true. He was Father Paul Evans, Franciscan priest, and he wouldn't exchange it for anything in the world.